June Mansion. The June family was sitting around the grand dining table. Mrs. June, the mother in law of your elder sister Yuvi, leaned in and asked her, Yuvi, dear, where is your sister Yan? She asked her politely. Well, you had come to stay with your elder sister Yuvi for a few days while your parents went to attend your aunt's daughter wedding ceremony in Busan. You didn't want to go with them because you never liked noisy weddings and you were not close to that side of the family, so Yuvi insisted you to stay with her. Everyone was sitting having the dinner, you were missing, so Mrs. June asked about you. Across from there sat Yuvi, your elder sister, smiling sweetly, trying her best to be the perfect daughter in law. And next to her was her husband, Jeon Jungkook, the elder son, gentle, polite, always grounded. At the other end of the table sat Jungkook, the youngest son. His hair was slightly messy, falling into his eyes. He wore a loose black t shirt and didn't say a word. He was just sitting there eating his breakfast. He was the type of person who looked cold, even trying, the type who made everyone else hesitate to breathe too loudly. Oh, Ryan must still be in her room, Mom. Mrs. June raised her eyebrows slightly. Room? Doesn't she feel hungry? Yuvi hesitated, then sighed. I asked her to calm down, but she said her stomach was hurting a little, so she doesn't want to eat. Oh, I see. I hope she is okay, she said while setting the cup down. Mrs. June glanced at Jungkook, who was shoving his fork into the food roughly. His jaw was tightened as every bite annoyed him. Son, didn't you like the food? Jungkook looked and forcing a smile, he replied in his deep, husky voice, Before he could complete his sentence, suddenly they all heard the sound of crying. It was loud and painful. Everyone froze and then they blinked as you came in the view while crying heavily. You were sobbing heavily while rubbing your teary eyes, which was causing the more tears to fall down. Yuviswak dropped down, seeing you crying like that. Ryan, what happened to you? You looked at her with your eyes wide, swollen, and said, Oni, I have cramps. It hurts so much. The entire room fell silent. Shukai coughed awkwardly. Mrs. June blinked rapidly while Mr. June cleared his throat and tried to look at his newspaper, pretending he had not heard anything. And Jungkook, he literally choked on his breath, almost dropping his glass. You cried again louder this time, unaware that uncomfortable you had made everyone. Yui gasped. Ish, this girl! She glanced at everyone with embarrassment and standing up, she walked towards you. Glaring at you, she held your hand and started to drag you upstairs. Yui didn't listen and kept dragging you until you reached your bedroom. The door slammed shut behind you. Mrs. June closed her eyes for a moment and then, clearing her throat, she looked at everyone and said, Hee hee, please continue eating. She gave them a nervous laugh. But no one did. Jungkook stood up from his chair after pushing the plate away roughly and stormed outside, shoving his hand into his pant pocket. Ryan, are you mad or what? What did you say things like that? She yelled at you while pointing her finger, but you were just crying. Your face was pale and your hair was messy. Ryan, I am asking you something. You looked at her with your wide innocent eyes and said between sobbings, Only it hurts so much. Please do something. My stomach is killing me. Yui sighed loudly, pressing her hand against her forehead. Ish, this girl. You really said that in front of mom and dad, June. Even Jungkook was there. What would they think about you? Be sensible, okay? You are not a kid anymore. You cried harder, your voice was shaking. I didn't mean to. It's hurting badly, Oni. I didn't know what to do. She stared at you for a second and then her expression softened, seeing how badly you were crying. Letting out a sigh, she brushed a loose strand of your hair behind your ear and said, Okay, okay, stop crying. Fine, I will get you hot water bag, okay? And some pain medicine. Just please don't shout something like that again. Everyone downstairs probably fainted. You blinked up at her through your tears. They did? Almost. You pouted, still holding your stomach. She laughed lightly and said, Rest, okay, and don't move too much. It will be fine. You nodded and your head, placing a soft kiss on your forehead. She left the room, closing the door behind gently. You let out a long sigh. You turned on your side, clutching the pillow. I shouldn't said that in front of everyone. In the evening, you were sitting in the living room while wearing your oversized hoodie. Your hair was tied up in a messy bun. You were clutching your stomach while your eyes were glued on the TV screen. Yuvi was sitting beside you, was scrolling through her phone. After a while, you let out a small yawn, stretching your arms. Ah, Uni, I think I need some rest. You said sleepily. Yeah, you should. You still don't look well. Go. You smiled weakly and stood up. Uni, call me when the dinner is ready, okay? Okay, no, go rest. You let out another yawn while dragging your soft slippers across the floor as you walked upstairs. The hallway was quiet and dimly lit, only the faint hum of the house was filling the silence as you entered the bedroom. You carelessly closed the door, but your eyes widened the moment you turned around. There were multiple sentry pockets from your different brands, all were neatly arranged on the bed. Beside them was a box of your favorite chocolate bars, 12 bottles of banana milk, and a small heating pad. You frowned and walked up to the bed while looking at those things strangely. What is all this? Who brought all this? While you were thinking to yourself, your eyes landed on the small folded note which was placed on top of everything. You picked it up with your fingers trembling slightly. The handwriting was neat and bold. Use these, they will help reduce your pain. You blinked, staring at the note for a moment, then you frowned a little, whispering, Who sent this? You are trying to guess the person who could bought all these things for you. Your eyes slowly shifted to the side of the bed, and then, barely visible under the edge of the blanket, was a tiny diamond bead which was glimmering faintly under the room light. You bent down, picking it up between your fingers. It looked expensive and delicate. Your eyes widened as a realization struck you. Huh? I have seen it somewhere. Suddenly, the realization hit you. It was the missing bead from Jungkook's wristwatch. You stared at it. Your heart suddenly started beating faster. Did he? You murmured under your breath. Before you could think further, you heard your sister's voice echo from downstairs. Why, Anya, come downstairs. The dinner is ready. You quickly placed the bead back on the table while your cheeks were slightly pink, glancing at those things for one last time. You rushed out of your room. Downstairs, the dining room looked warm and elegant under the chandelier light. The table was filled with delicious dishes. Everyone was already seated, Mrs. June at the head, smiling kindly. Mr. June was quietly pouring tea, Shukai chatting softly with Juvi and Jungkook, who was sitting at the far end wearing a plain black sweatshirt. His expression was cold and serious as usual. Your cheeks turned more red, seeing Jungkook. You shyly walked to the seat beside him and plopped down on the chair. Mrs. June passed you the serving bowl. You bowed at her slightly. Before putting food into your plate, you looked at Jungkook and decided to speak. Ah, Jungkook, thank you for all those things and chocolate bars. You are really caring. Everyone had heard that as you had said it so loudly. Everyone looked at you with wide eyes while Jungkook literally felt helpless. His jaw was literally dropped and his grip on the glass tightened. You smiled at him while he tilted his head as he gave you a disbelieving stare. You vehemently groaned. Why, Enya, can't you eat with your food silently? You blinked by looking at her with a small pout. But only he bought a lot of things for me. I just wanted to thank him. Jungkook ran a hand down his face and let out a long sigh. He was literally regretting to place all those things in your bedroom. Why I was born. Muttering to himself, he stood up while slammed the glass on the table and stormed out of the dining room. His steps were quick and heavy. Mrs. John looked at your sad, pouty face. She quickly forced a nervous laugh and said, Aha, dear, why aren't you trying this kimchi? Please try it. It made it myself. She said while placing the bowl of kimchi in front of you. You forced a weak smile while thinking to yourself that why Jungkook left all of a sudden. You immediately turned to you and whispered, Yee, what were you thinking saying that in front of everyone? I was just thanking him. Next time, thank him quietly, she hissed. You rubbed your arm and mumbled, I'm sorry, Uni. She let out a tired sigh and rolled her eyes. After dinner, you were walking through the hallway while singing a song as you were about to enter your bedroom. Pulled into another room, the door shut behind you with a loud thud. You guessed turning around. What? It was Jungkook. Why did you say that so loud? You blinked, your heart was racing. I was just trying to thank you. You gasped. Saying something like that in front of everyone, hmm? I didn't mean to embarrass you, you said in a teasing voice. Why don't you think before speaking? See, there are some things you can't just say in front of everyone so openly. You scratch your hair as if you were pretending to be getting bored by his lecture. Jungkook eyes darkened. You flinch while your cheeks turn crimson red. You can't just pretend that my sings have no effect on you, YN. You will have to behave like an adult. Do you even know what you do? You looked up at him with your big innocent eyes and muttered in a low voice. But you are not someone. Jungkook, you are special. Jungkook frowned and then a smile appeared on his lips as he realized that you liked him too. Jungkook had already liked you, but never gotten enough courage to tell you about his feelings, and now hearing that from your mouth made him flustered. His lips parted, but before he could say anything, you rushed out of the room. Your heart was fluttering wildly. Behind you, Jungkook stood there frozen. This girl is going to drive me crazy. The next morning, you were sitting quietly by the pool, your feet were dipped into the cool blue water, and you were wearing a frock. The breeze was moving gently, carrying the scent of wet grass. Your cheeks were still flushing from the last night incident. Ishwayan, what is wrong with you? You whispered to yourself while shaking your head. Meanwhile, Jungkook reached your room door. He knocked a little gently, but there was no response. He glanced around, then slowly tiptoed inside. He searched for you around the room, but you were not there. He frowned and then rushed inside. He glanced around, then slowly he peeked inside the kitchen to see Yuvi setting the breakfast table. Jungkook walked in behind her. Oni, where is YN? He asked in his usual calm, low voice, though his tone carried a touch of concern. Yuvi glanced at him over her shoulder. Oh, YN, she went outside for some fresh air, I think. She said she wanted to clear her head. Jungkook nodded silently, but the corner of his mouth twitched silently, as if he was trying not to smile. He turned and walked out towards the garden. You will watch him go and then lean towards Mrs. June, who was arranging fruits on a plate. Mom, I think something is going on, she whispered to her. Mrs. June smiled while narrowing her eyes. You are right, daughter in law. Yuvi nodded her head slightly, narrowing your eyes back. Jungkook walked across the backyard and then he reached the pool side and stopped as he saw you sitting quietly with your feet in the water. Your reflection wavered on the ripples like a painting, his mug faintly slipping his hand into his pant pocket. You didn't notice him as you were too lost in your own thoughts. You know, I had a sleepless last night just because of you. He crouched beside you and whispered. Your eyes widened, hearing his voice. You quickly turned around to see him sitting behind you. You gulped and tried to stand up, but in your panic and haste, your feet slipped on the edge of the pool and you fell straight into a pool. Before you could even react, splash. You fell straight into the water. The coolness hit your body and it made you gasp as you tried to catch your breath. You surfaced, blinking the water from your eyes while coughing slightly. Seeing you gasping, his smirk vanished and he quickly jumped into the pool without hesitation. Are you crazy? You could have just hit your head, he said. You blinked at him as you were trying to catch your breath. I didn't mean to fall, you said while shivering slightly. You never think before doing anything, do you? You opened your mouth to reply, but words got stuck. Well, I'm not even denying the fact, he said, making you roll your eyes dramatically. Then he noticed your lips were trembling slightly from the cold, and his expression softened. He caressed your hair. You stumbled slightly, and he steadied you. When you turned to face him, you couldn't help but laugh softly through your wet hair. You look like a drowned puppy. What? You giggled, trying to hide your blush. I said thank you. He placed his both hands on the edge of the pool. This is because of you. Since I joined your company, I have become naughty, Mr. Jeon. Oh, really? He raised an eyebrow. You nodded your head, but then a gasp left your mouth when he splashed some water. You groaned, standing up. He chuckled softly under his breath, shaking his head. You look cute. Yay, don't laugh. He smirked faintly. Go dry up before you catch a cold. You rolled your eyes, smiling despite yourself, and whispered under your breath, this guy is impossible. After a week, your birthday was finally arrived, and the entire house looked like a dream. Soft golden lights were hung from the ceiling, flowers were framed every corner. Mrs. June had made sure everything looked perfect. You were standing there while glowing in your pastel dress, laughing as everyone surrounded you with cheers and claps. Happy birthday. Everyone shouted, and you blew out the candles on your cake, smiling so wide that your cheeks hurt. Jungkook was standing a little away from the crowd. His arms were folded, and a faint smile was playing on his lips as he watched you laugh. After the cake cutting, one by one, everyone began giving you their gifts. Pretty boxes were wrapped with ribbons and bows. You were unwrapping them with excitement while thanking each person. Now it was Jungkook's turn. He walked forward slowly. A smile smirk was playing on his lips. He was holding a neatly arranged wrapped gift in his hand. Open it later, he whispered. It was low enough for only you to hear, but of course you didn't. You giggled and tore off the wrapping in one go, and the next second, silence filled the room. Everyone's eyes widened while Jungkook froze before he couldn't even process. And you just frowned in confusion. You held up the delicate dress dangling between your fingers and said innocently, what is this, Jungkook? You could have given me a fairy tale frog instead. There was a second of stunned silence. Mrs. Junili choked on her drink, trying not to laugh while Yui covered her face in shock. Shuka and Mr. June looked around awkwardly. Meanwhile, poor Jungkook. His face turned red, ears pink, and he muttered through clenched teeth while looking at you. No, princess, maybe I should have given you a feeder instead. Everyone suppressed their laugh. Mrs. June giggled teasingly and looked at Jungkook. She said, Jungkook, yeah, tell us why did you give her such a fashionable gift? Jungkook jaw tightened, but your confused, innocent eyes made him even worse. Why, Jungkook, do you think I look like a beggar? Jungkook felt completely embarrassed and rushed upstairs to his bedroom without saying another word. You blinked, still holding the dress, and then ran after him. Jungkook, tell me, why did you give me this? Mrs. Jeon chuckled, shaking her head. You burst into his room. Jungkook was standing by the window, rubbing his temple. Jungkook, what is this supposed to mean? You really don't understand, do you? You blink confused. What? Your eyes widened. What do you mean? Jungkook sighed, running a hand through his hair. You were supposed to open it alone. You frowned, your cheeks turned red as your eyelashes started to hit you. You are such a troublemaker. You stomped your feet. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Jungkook frowned. Excuse me? You embarrassed me, Ryan. You curled with wide eyes. Happy birthday, princess, he said, making you flinch.